Hi, everybody. My name is Mrs. Denise Parker. I'm the Internships and Careers Director and also our Director of our Entrepreneurs Academy. We have this wonderful new series that is going to elevate your game, and it's called How to Land Your Dream Job. And one of you guys, possibly your dream job is to what? Be your what? Own boss. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about being your own boss. We're going to talk about what it takes to become a business owner and how to maintain, then brand your business. And to lead this session today, I'm super excited for my friend and colleague, Mr. Kevin Shephard. Come on the stage and show us who you are real quick, sir.
Get this. Let me get this. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Hope all is well. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the warm introduction, Ms.
Wow.
Denise.
Yay.
Um, as she said, it's going to be more of a dialogue than it is a class. I want you guys to participate as much as possible because the truth of the matter is you're going to get the most value as you ask questions, right? And you don't know who else may be even thinking about those questions. So just want to put that out there, and I probably will say it again because it is important that we all engage. So welcome to everybody. This is how to build and brand a business. So we're first going to go into the objective of today. So the objective of today is for me to take my 10 years of knowledge and pretty much my journey, skills, and pretty much break it down to the simplest form and the simplest, most important things that I wish I knew early on. And then also, I will say it's not going to be easy. Like you can already just solidify the fact that it's not going to be a cutesy, demure, or whatever they be saying journey. It's gonna be some pain. You know, you're gonna bump your elbow, you're gonna scratch your elbow, bump, get some bruises. But at the end of the day, we're all doing this to be able to leave a legacy behind. So it's of course gonna be worth it. So yeah, I just want to share with y'all the most valuable things that I learned and the mistakes I made. This is a little bit of a breakdown for the day. So session one is definitely going to be the introduction, not only about me, but most importantly about you guys. I would love for y'all to at least put, I see your name, but if you can put like what type of business you desire to make and why, if you can keep the why to like one sentence just for the sake of, time, that'd be perfect. So that I can learn a little bit about everyone in here and then kind of cater some of this advice towards your specific journey, right? As well as I have different connections. I know a lot of different business owners. If there's some field that you're in, and I know somebody in that field, I would love to share the connection, and you can reach out to those people as well. So that'll be session one. Session two will be the idea. So that part is basically I broke down 5 questions that I would say are the most important when it comes to building a plan when it comes to your business. Let me let Ms. Price in. Yeah, so we all need a plan, right? If you ask a question, I think one of them is what are you doing? Then it goes to why, who you're doing it for, and then so on and so forth. So we'll deep dive into that. And that'll be one that you really want to pull out your pen and paper for. The third session will be just start, which is one of my favorite ones. It speaks on the importance of like start now. There's no need to wait. There's no need to wait for resources or say that you don't have money. I'm a prime example of a person that just started. All I had was ambition. I had not a single dollar. I was broke, and it took me 6 months to get a job. So not only was I broke, I didn't even have like jobs reaching back out to me, so I couldn't work. And all I did was just keep pouring into my business, right? So I'll go into that, and then I'll actually speak to the importance of starting even when you're in school. It's very vital that you start in school if we have any students in here because you are surrounded by resources, right? You have students, you have faculty, you have different businesses within that community that you can just pull resources from. So we'll definitely get into that. Fourth thing will definitely be networking, which is probably the most vital part of building a business. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for Miss what you call it, Miss Parker. Sorry about that. And honestly, she's been such a great friend. She's put me in so many different good situations, and good opportunities. So I would not be here without her. And so we'll go into that, and then I'll actually give tips on how to network in the strongest way as possible. So that'll be a good one. And then, of course, the idea is nothing without protection, right? You don't want to create something and pour your whole life into something for it to be stolen from you, which a lot of times it happens to people. So we definitely get into the importance of that too. And I'll give you a resource on how to find all the information and where I learned it from. So let's get to it. I hope y'all are ready. So this is a section, of course, we'll go into me, but this is the opportunity where I'm gonna give you guys time. I'm gonna give you like 30 seconds to type within the comment section your the type of business you want to create and why. So let me just go ahead and start the timer. We got 30 seconds starting now.
Awesome. I see. Oh, wonderful. I'm seeing all kinds of great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay if you guys don't know
Yeah.
exactly. You do kind of have the field or the area that you want to, lean into.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's just all right. There goes 30 seconds right there. I don't know if it's just on my end. I'm having a hard time seeing the comments.
That's okay. I'll read them.
Okay.
So we have real estate investing.
Okay.
This is to build generational wealth, of course. I love that.
All right.
Insurance, a P&C adjuster firm. Social emotional learning center for children with behavioral learning disabilities such as autism. We also have SAT, prep boot camp and a college resource. So some of these are just great resources, and you don't have to know the exact what it is, but you have an idea, that's great.
Yeah, and I want to speak to why I only gave you guys 30 seconds. I'm actually very surprised, and I'm actually proud that a lot of people had a response because you should be able to clearly say and express what it is that you are passionate about and what you want your business to be. Right? I'm pretty sure we've all heard of the elevator pitch. That technically is within like the 10 to 15-second range, right? And if you haven't heard of the elevator pitch, it's of course an exercise where a lot of business owners use to practice expressing their business, what their why is, their reason. And it's basically you imagining that what if you walk into an elevator and the person who's dominating your industry is standing right there, right? A person who can literally change your life with a phone call. What are you going to say to them to catch their attention? Right? How are you going to say it within 10 to 15 seconds without boring them to death? Right? You can't talk their ear off. So I love the fact that a lot of people have responses there. And those are all strong too. All very, very strong. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Okay. So now I'll tell you a little bit about me, who I am. I'm a father, I'm a mentor, I'm an entrepreneur. I was raised in Oakland, California, and raised by entrepreneurs, right? That lady right there at the bottom left, that is my mother. And that's my inspiration right there. I wouldn't be an entrepreneur without her. And that's because I grew up watching her on a day-to-day basis build her dreams. I grew up watching her, whether she's sick, tired, whatever, she got up and went to work. Right. So she taught me hustle. She taught me the importance of building your own. She was able to do things on her own time. And for me, being a young Black boy, I'm seeing that and I'm like, wow, like that's a life you can create with building your own company. Cool. That's kind of like
hold on just a
I kind of
second. We'll
definitely
come back.
say it again. Out of here. But basically, that's something that really changed my perspective of the world. And for me, it did the most for me, right? So watched her growing up. I ended up working a lot of warehouse jobs, things of that nature, and I always quit because I always had in the back of my mind, I want to build my own legacy. And so moving forward, I started my own company. Then like 2012 is when I kind of got the idea to start the fashion brand. I've been doing fashion since like 2010. I didn't take it serious until about 2017. And that's when I was like, okay, I want to get a trademark. I want to do these things. Um, and it really was like I said in the beginning, it was a lot of bruises, a lot of bumps. I had to learn a lot the hard way. I lost a lot of money and things like that. But ultimately, around 2019, I added somebody to the team. And that's kind of when I started to get my traction. I started to sell out each release. And from that point, I pretty much was like, all right, well, this is an official business. Let me quit my job. Um, bad move, bad move, because your job is your first investor, right? If you didn't know that, please understand, like, don't quit your job until your business forces you to do so. So I had to learn that the hard way, but at the end of the day, from 2019 to 2021, we got our first big opportunity. It was actually 2020 when they reached out, but 2021 is when it went into effect and we got into the Beverly Center, right? So I'm going from the trunk to literally being in one of the most prominent malls in Los Angeles, which is one of my biggest dreams is always do the fashion in Los Angeles. So that pretty much got marked off my bucket list. From there, I got reached out to a year later by Foot Locker. So I went from one store to 25 just within that small year. And then from there, from 25 to 32, and so on and so forth, because we grew to be the best selling brand within Foot Locker. So it was pretty much, it was just proof to me that all I needed was opportunity, right? Because when I moved from the Bay, I moved to Patterson, and it's a small town. There's not any fashion there. Like, there's nobody that really makes it big out of there. So it just proved to me, like, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what resources you have. If you have the heart for it, if you have the will for it, you will do. And then from there, I kind of just started sharing my journey because a lot of people were telling me they were learning from it. Like, Yang is really a brand that documents the journey of building a business. Like, I speak to entrepreneurs through my fashion, through my clothes. I don't know if you can see, but even my hoodie says "keep going," right? Because these are subtle messages I like to push forth. Um, so yeah, from there, I just kind of took my fashion sense. I took the success of my business and my lessons, and I started to speak as well, which is why I'm in front of you guys today. Before we go to the next slide, I just want to speak to a few of those pictures. The one at the top left, that is my son. As I said in the beginning, I am a father. That is my pride and joy. He's the reason I wake up every morning, tired or not, beat up or not. I'm getting up, because I just want to keep that smile on his face. The one to the right is the most recent Foot Locker panel. They had me up there with other business owners, bankers, things of that nature. And we were just giving a lot of value to the city of Compton. And of course, like I said, the bottom left is the one that's my first sale, which is my mother. And that's $30 in my hand, and that changed my life ultimately. And then the one on the right is the first event that we had in Los Angeles, which was on Hollywood Boulevard. First time I ever felt like a celebrity. And it's really when my mind changed and I was just like, I've actually did what I planned to do. Like, back in those days where I was broke, didn't have money, I did it that day, and it was proof to me. So those are very important pictures to me. But now that we got that out the way, y'all know a little bit about me. I know a little bit about you guys. Let's get into the idea, right? So this portion is, like I said, these are the top 5 questions I think would be the most valuable if you're looking to build a business. So let's get into it. Number 1 question: what am I doing? What am I what am I doing? What am I known for? Right? You have to know exactly what you're doing and what you want to be known for. That's where branding comes into play. Second question: why am I doing it? So now I know what I'm doing. Why am I doing it? Like, what is the reason I'm trying to bring this product or service to the market? And I think the why and the reason is one of the most valuable and most important steps, because if you don't have that, you'll stop eventually, because this journey is that tough. Like, it's not, if it's about money, if you think you're just going to be driven by money, you'll figure out when you start getting money, like, okay, I need something deeper. right? So that why is when you pull from within and like, okay, this is my reason for doing so. It's a forever journey, right? So you know what you're doing, you know why you're doing it. The next question is, who am I doing this for, right? And I actually have a interesting kind of like a thing that I do to figure out and find other people's demographics. So whenever I'm coaching somebody and I say, do you have a demographic? If they don't, I'll say, okay, let's do the avatar method. And what that is basically you choose and you create the perfect character for your service or business, right? So what does that look like? I give it a name, age, marital status, annual income. Like you got to literally break it down to the T because all of that helps you pretty much box and package this service or product in the perfect way possible. And 9 times out of 10, when you create this character, there's going to be a demographic in the world that fits within that realm, right? So if you don't know who you're servicing, that's exactly how you can find it. And I can definitely share more. I have like a full-on breakdown of that. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to reach out to me. I can send it. So that'd be the third question. Now that you know what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you're doing it for, who else is dominating within this industry? Right? Who are my competitors? This is where the market research comes into play. You have to understand who your competitors are and you want to stay in the loop of what's going on. Even if you're not doing exactly what they're doing, you want to stay in the loop and see what's going on and what are the market trends within your industry. That's very important because you don't want to be completely off the wall, right? You market in here when the industry has already moved up here. You'll figure out soon that you'll lose a lot of money trying to do business like that. And also, when you're analyzing these people, like I said, if you find a person that's the biggest in your industry, how can I learn from them? Right? That's where the mentorship comes into play. And that I think is another vital piece of my journey is when I started to look at those who were winning in my industry because I'm like, okay, what are you doing to win? Right? I'm looking at the comments on their posts. I'm like, how are they interacting with their customers? Because the customer is going to tell you, right? When you look at these big companies and you look at the dialogue that's going on in the forums and the comments, they're going to tell you what they like and don't like about it. So I study that. I study that. Okay, y'all don't like that they take super long to ship. Okay, cool. Y'all don't like how they market that, that certain product. All right, cool. So I learned a lot just based off that. And it's literally like, we're not here to reinvent the wheel, right? Like, study their blueprint and literally copy it. It's that simple. Like, copy a blueprint of somebody who's actually winning. And of course, it'll be unique to you because you're unique, you're you. But yeah, we're not here to reinvent the wheel. Make it easier on yourself. If somebody's already dominated, you definitely could follow that. Any questions so far?
Not yet.
Cool. I'm not moving too fast. All right. Okay. Well, now that we went over that, you have clear insight on how you can create the idea. I like to, let me see, put this. I like to go into the portion of just starting because now that you have the idea, there's no excuses, right? Now that you know exactly who you're marketing to, you know exactly why you're doing it, you know what you're doing, you got to start, right? And I think this is important because for me, like I said, I didn't have any money. I didn't have any other real reason to start other than like I was just tired of my situation. So I didn't let the lack of resources stop me in any way. I just was like, hey, whatever I can do to move forward, to put one foot in front of the other, I'm going to do that. Right. So that's exactly what I did. And for 6 months, I sketched and I made sure I stacked up all of my designs. And ultimately, when I did start getting the capital, it was easier for me to just put stuff out because I was already ahead of the game. I already have 10,000 sketches, like literally to this day, that I have not touched. So let's get into it. When you're just starting out, if there's any students in here, this part is for you. You are in such a great place. For one, because you're young, right? I started fresh out of high school, so I was about 17, 18. I now speak to students who are 14 and 13, and I'm just like, you don't understand. I didn't have a person like myself. I didn't have the resources I didn't have ChatGPT. I I didn't have any of that when I was coming up. I had to literally go out and bump my head to get these type of lessons, to get this knowledge. So I'm like, if you have the resources, like people like myself, you have YouTube, you have ChatGPT, you got to utilize that. And especially if you're in school, you're around a massive amount of resources, right? So I think what that looks like is you have friends, you have people that can give you feedback on your product. If you want to bake cookies, you can bake cookies, right? Literally, you could take cooking classes. You can give it to people, have them test it out, have them give you feedback on if the stuff is good or not, or what you should change, how you should package it, things of that nature. There's students, there's teachers, faculty, all of that, right? So you can easily do that. Time management skills is vital as well because this is what you'll learn building a business. You have to be on point, right? And the reason why I'm so big when it comes to that is because I have another situation where my time management wasn't on point, right? And I got in a unique situation by getting hit by COVID. So if I would have planned correctly, I wouldn't have lost $17,000 when it came to COVID. But I had so much inventory locked over in China that I literally had to pay that money or my business would have been done. Right. So what I learned from that was like, okay, I have to have a calendar. What is my goal? And let me reverse engineer how long it's going to take for me to do that. Right. So I map everything out from the design process, from the sourcing process to the photo shoot to how long it's going to take for the package to get to me from FedEx. I plan everything now. And that's because you don't want to get hit with random things. And business is very, very random, right? It's all over the place. You never know when the market's going to change. You never know when the trend is going to change. So planning and having time management, using the calendar, using the to-do list, that's going to be vital. And that's what, I mean, if you're in school, that's something that you can take not only from school, but to the real life, real world. Um, you have the ability to use and put your new knowledge to the test with the community around you. Like I said in the beginning, you can get feedback, you can get new customers, you can have ideas, you can get help. Like if you're a student in college or even in high school, there's classes catered around specific things that you would want to do. There's teachers that will help you. There's grown-ups and business owners within that community that will help you. You just have to have the will and the hunger to go get it. And you have to be a student inside and outside the class, right? And of course, last thing, starting small. I think starting small is the most valuable thing you can do because the mistakes that you're gonna make will be smaller as well, right? I've had moments where I'm like, okay, I made a mistake and lost 600. Now, what if there was a zero behind that? What if I was at a bigger level and I made that same mistake and it was a zero behind it? Now you lost 6,000. If it's two zeros behind it, so it compounds, right? So when you start small, you get to make the mistakes in the beginning early, and then you can just take that knowledge and then scale with it, and you won't make small mistakes like that, right? And of course, the resources will come if you have if you have the will, if you have the idea, if you have the hustle. People love to see that, right? I've had many of people that have taken me under their wings solely because they understand like I'm not gonna stop. Like I'm not gonna let lack of capital stop me. I'm not gonna let lack of support stop me. I think just showing that will, showing that heart to be able to like just keep going regardless if you have all the resources or not. The resources come to you. All right. So the main takeaway for this slide is like experiment while you're young because you have the time and the space to make the mistakes. You don't have real bills. You don't have a kid or mouth to feed or a mortgage, right? So you can make those mistakes and bounce back from it. Let's see. And of course, this probably is the most important portion of this entire slide um, is the networking, right? And networking is so important to me because, as I said in the beginning, like Mrs. Parker has opened so many doors for me. I've had multiple people that have just put me in some situations that I couldn't pay to get into, right? Prime example, I'll tell y'all a quick story. I was in LA. I went to a album release party for an artist named Larry June. He's out of the Bay Area, and we went there to network, right? We didn't really go there to buy any merchandise or anything. We wanted to just network. So we were just working the line, going down the line, telling people about the brand that we were wearing. Out of nowhere, a random old lady, like older woman, her shopping bag bumped my business partner's leg. And from there, it just kind of sparked a conversation. She's like, "Oh, sorry," and he was like, "Hey, no problem, this and that." She's like, "What's going on here?" She didn't even know what was going on. They just happened to be in the area. We explained to her, and then she's like, "Oh, why are you here?" And we're like, "Oh, we just marketing our brand." We got into like a 30-minute conversation. Her husband walks up, and she says, "Oh, my husband's into fashion too." We're like, "Really? Okay." Didn't think anything of it. Then the words, "We just exited our company," came out of their mouth. And my eyes kind of lit up like, wait, what? These people ended up selling their fashion brand, which is it's called Johnny Was. They sold their brand for $250 million, like a year prior to that day. And I was just like, people don't even understand. They are here to meet this rap artist, right? No knock to him at all. But they don't even understand like this old couple that's next to them that they just completely ignoring is richer than everybody on the street. And for me, it just taught me the value of being a student, like having humility, right? Being able to tell any and everybody that my brand wasn't catered toward that demographic. I'm still gonna tell them no, right? I'm out here. Why not? Let's spark the conversation and talk about what my passion is. And they ended up being our mentors, right? We go to these people's house frequently for free. There's no money that I didn't. That man's time is probably like 20,000, 30,000 an hour. There's no way I could pay for that. But just out of the pure humility and the hunger and the grit that we showed just by sharing that with them, they took us under their wing, right? So that's the value of networking. So let's get into certain ways you can network in the most valuable ways and what networking even looks like. Quick quote: there is no success without relationships. I'm sure everybody in here can speak to that, right? I wouldn't be sitting here before you today if it wasn't for a relationship that got watered, where it was an exchange in value and things of that nature. So to me, let me make this a little smaller. Here are a few ways that I can express what networking is. Networking to me is a connection by exchanging value of some sort with another person. I think if you go into a conversation and there's no value exchange, it's almost like after a certain age, it's not really the conversations I want to be in, right? If we were young and things were just all willy nilly, but it's like, no, I actually have mouths to feed, I have a business to build, things of that nature. I want to exchange value with everybody that I'm talking to. So make sure you always go into a conversation with some form of value, right? Especially if it's a person that you're like targeting, right? Say you go to an event, you like, I want to talk to this person because I know they're going to be there. Take the time to actually study them. What do they like? What are their interests, right? You can bring these things up in conversation and it sticks out because a lot of people don't put that extra step and that extra work in, right? So you got to be able to do that and you got to exchange value of some sort with another person. Number two, remaining a student in and out of school. Like I said, for the students in here, if there are any, you have to remain a student in and out of school. You can learn from any and everybody. So don't ever look at a person and say, they don't even look like a person I would talk to, because I could have said that about the couple that I met that's worth, I don't even know. I just know they exited their company at $250 million. I've never seen those numbers. And if I would not have talked to them, I would not have met them at all. And I wouldn't have mentors to this day. So you have to remain a student, be willing to talk to any and everybody, regardless of how they look. I mean, a common phrase is don't judge a book by its cover, right? A third way to network: ask thoughtful questions. This has helped me get into so many deep conversations with people, whether they are high status, whatever the case may be. When you ask a thoughtful question, and that goes into also, like I said, with number one, doing the homework. Like do the homework on a person because when you ask a thoughtful question, it makes a person think. That makes a person say, wow, like that conversation stuck out. Out of all the conversations I had, nobody asked me a question like that. So definitely ask thoughtful questions. People love to speak about themselves. That's just obvious, right? Number four, listening thoroughly and having an open mind. I think that's the mistake I used to make early on is I would just talk, I would just be talking, right? And I wouldn't even respond, I would react to what people had to say to me. And I think with that, that's when you can say hi to a person and tell them your name, they tell you their name, and you forget in the next few seconds. It's like, were you listening? Were you really listening when that person was talking? You had to be very alert and attentive and listen to what a person is saying. And sometimes that you pause, like, right? Sometimes a person is telling you something, you just pause in the conversation, it's like, that's interesting. And have a real deep thought instead of just a reactionary response. And of course, having an open mind. We all have opinions, right? But you don't want to get into a conversation with somebody and you feel like your opinion is the only opinion that can be right, right? I've had plenty of times where I thought something was true due to my personal experiences, but talking to a person from a whole different background, they think in a whole different way. They're like, oh, like this is how I view it. You have to be open to that feedback because that can ultimately make you smarter, right? And help you out. So that's definitely been a vital portion of my networking. And then number five, following up with new connections and people. You can ask Mrs. Parker. I followed up with her a lot, right? Like I followed up with her a lot just to let her know I was there. Because the truth of the matter is people are busy. And if you're working your way up, maybe you need more opportunities, things of that nature. You got to be willing to understand that people aren't always thinking of you. So sometimes you got to put yourself out there. Sometimes you got to remind people, hey, I'm here just in case. I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to let you know I'm here if you ever need some help. And I literally I have a day carved out in my week where I put down 10 different people I'll reach out to within my network. And it's just to simply say, hey, just thinking about you, hope all is well. Like I hope all is well. Is there anything I can help you with? Is there anything that you've been struggling with? Like I'm here if you need a shoulder to cry on, an ear to just listen. And that's goes to my next one, being of service, right? That's serving people. Business is only about people. And that's what I've learned over time is just like I thought business was just numbers and money and things of that nature. I feel like I'm in a psychology course learning business because you got to learn the way people think. You got to learn the way people, talk, how you can deal with emotions, how you deal with ego and things of that nature. People are very, very, very complex. So you have to be of service. Like you got to learn people, right? Um, and just a few ways that I network. A few ways that I network is, of course, through social media. I think that's the most obvious way to network nowadays, but I'm a more in person type of guy because I think the relationship, I like for a person to feel my energy, to see the look on my face when I'm talking to them, to see that I'm not breaking eye contact when they're speaking, because I think it holds more weight, in my opinion. Um, and also, I've learned that a lot of valued people are not on social media. Right? I would have never met that couple. I'm gonna keep going back to that. We never met that couple on social media. Right? They're too old to use phones like that. So I had to be in person, and I was able to meet those people. Organizations, of course, community events. You can always look on social media, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn. There's always resources given out, like flyers, things of that nature. Of course, going to businesses, I am a firm believer that you can network with different businesses, whether they're small business owners, big business. Go there and meet the owner. Go there and meet the manager. Speak with the staff, right? That's exactly what I did to be able to become the top selling brand within Foot Locker. I went to the actual stores and I got to meet the manager. Hey, how you doing? My name is Kevin. I wanted to personally meet the people who are pushing my product. Like, I thank you, and they ended up making it known to me that I was the only brand owner that did that. Again, standing out is so important. I can't even stress the importance of that, but it's so important that you stand out and do things like that. And of course, school. Like as a person who didn't go to college, I kind of regret it, if I'm being honest. And I say that because I didn't understand the value of it. And that's the only reason why I didn't go. But school is such a perfect place for you to, again, test your ideas, gain networking skills, right? Gain connections, um, just get to know what people think like. I would have loved to go to an out of state college or things of that nature and just meet people. I think that's the most valuable part of growing a business is just being out there, getting yourself out there, getting your name out there. Like even right now, like I'm in LA. I don't live in LA, but I came here just for the week. Just you never know, right? You never know what could happen in Los Angeles. So I'm just like, I gotta get out here and I gotta go to events. I gotta be feet to the pavement and see what's going on. Because that's the way that I've grown my company. So the main takeaway of this slide is basically strong networks are more valuable than money, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And the reason why I wanted to put that as a main takeaway is because I watched a documentary and it was called like The Black Godfather. It was on Netflix. And it was about a guy named Clarence Avant. I believe he was just very prominent when it came to the early music business. And he had a point in the documentary where he went broke. He was like, it was just bad times, right? They was taking my house, they were taking my car. I would have to move back to, I forgot where he's from, but he lived out here. He's like, I would have had to move back and I would have been done. Based off his connections and how much of a solid person he was, how many people he served, he was able to literally call somebody. He told them about the situation, and what they said was, I have an extra home in Beverly Hills. Go stay in it. It's yours. And it's just like, dude didn't have to spend no money for that. That was all pure network. That was all pure relationship. That's why I say strong networks are more valuable than money. And if y'all won't, y'all definitely should watch that. I advise you watch it because he was, when it comes to networking, he was probably like one of the top dogs. But now that we know, of course, what we want to do, we have the idea, we know exactly who we're selling it to, things of that nature, right? You know how to network now as well. I've given you those tools. And if you have any other questions, please leave it in the chat. I will get to it. Let's talk about protecting these ideas, like the legalities, the copyrights, the trademarks. And I learned this early on, again, from my mother. I don't know how she got that knowledge, but when I first started my company, she was like, you aren't going to start this until you trademark it. Like your first investment will be a trademark if you're serious about it. And I at the time didn't even know what that was. So I'm like, this is 270, I think it was like 250 bucks at the time, or like 275. I'm like, I'm not spending this money on that. Like I don't want to do that. She literally forced me to do it. She said, I will give you half the money. I couldn't turn that away. So I ended up trademarking my stuff and I understand it, or I understood later the importance of it. So for those who don't know, a trademark is a way to protect your business name, slogan, or logos, right? When it comes to trademarks, I have probably like 7 of them. All right, so different phrases I have. This is what Black ownership looks like. I actually wore a few of those hoodies too. Some of the NCRF meets in Oakland and things of that nature. Yang Vibe, of course, my business name. Hustlers Only, which is another, it's kind of like a subtitle or sub phrase that we use. I have so many trademarks because I want to protect my ideas right away, right? Especially if I'm pouring my time and energy into it. Because you got the best ideas in the world. If you're not protecting them, somebody will take it. Like there's people who literally look up what's being searched and they'll secure the domain, whether it's the website or the trademark, just so that when you blow up, you'll have to buy it back from them for a high price, right? And it's not costly to get a domain name. It's like 12 bucks in some cases. But a patent is a way to protect your unique invention, like a zipper or a specific thing. A copyright, a way to protect your copy, distribute, or display. It's mainly for like music, paintings, movies, video games, things of that nature. And Man, like for everybody who's in here, I just really want to say like this is the most important thing. And I learned all of this off of this actual source at the bottom. USPTO.gov is like the heaven when it comes to trademarks. And that's how you can go. You can search up whatever trademark is taken. Like say you have a business name, you go on here, you go to TESS in the search bar, which is it stands for Trademark Electronic Search System. If you search that name and some records show up, it could say, live, which means somebody has it, or it could say dead if somebody had it in the past and it's not valid anymore. Maybe they didn't update their trademark, so it is classified as dead now. That means it's available. But if nothing comes up, your name is clean and free, right? So get on USPTO. Definitely play around with it. I'm sorry.
You can actually let's go to the link and show everybody how to do it. You can actually hover
cool.
on it. Hover over your thing, click on it. Yeah, because you're sharing because we should switch to Zoom.
Perfect. Can y'all see it?
There you go. Perfect. Yes. Perfect. Looks great.
So we popped up the link, right? This literally takes you to the home page. Like I said, this is the heaven when it comes to all IP. So patents right here. Any questions you have, you can go to it. Trademark, same thing. IP policy. So what I usually do, because I deal with a lot of trademarks, is I go here and I go to TESS. Right? Search that. And I believe it's going to be the very first link. Boom. See, it's purple because I always go to it. It already know where I'm going. So trademark search system. And from here, literally, you can type any brand. I'll just type mine just so we see how it is. So Yang Vibe, boom. There goes my name, individual, USA, things of that nature. And you can see here that I have a trademark for, let me see. Oh, goods and services. So this is where it shows exactly what it's trademarked for. Clothing, jackets, bodysuits, bottom suits, clothing, like, because you'll have to get a specific class. Like you can't trademark it for all things. It has to be a specific class. So if you wanted to do, let's just say clothing and for media, that would be a whole separate trademark for the media. And so that would be a separate charge and things of that nature. But yeah, get on here and definitely play around with this platform because there's so much value in it. And again, they teach you so many things just based off of like all the information given here. If you were to go to trademark basics, they tell you about it all. Like what is a trademark? What is the difference? Trademark examples. So this is a good source for you guys to use.
We're also planning in the near future to have the USPTO team members to come on to do a segment for our Entrepreneurs Academy for those business owners who want to learn more specifics. So stay tuned for that.
That's super smart. I definitely would be in tuned on that because I always like to learn more, right? I don't feel like I know everything. Like even the things I've told you guys today have been solely based off of experience. It's not stuff that I read in a book. This isn't stuff that's just been told to me and I'm just kind of regurgitating it. This is stuff that I've actually experienced. So, I hope you guys were able to pull some form of value from this today. I know we are getting towards the end, so I want to leave room for questions. Does anybody have any questions or comments on just the different things that I touched on today? Even if it's just like, feedback on how I could have explained it better. I would love to hear from you.
Okay, so a question for our audience also, like now that you guys got some basics on what it is that you need to start, have you guys already started in your business? Let's see. Quiet.
I have a comment. I work along with Pat Tweeder. We're both from Atlantic City. And the thing this week we were just been talking about a lot about branding and trademarks. and people, being able to everything you talk to them about, they'll go and start the same thing where they basically stole your information. So we know copyright, trademark, and all that is very important.
Beautiful.
And then for you to touch on that, that's just solidifies everything, that we've been talking about. Thank you.
Of course, of course.
And
Yeah, my biggest fear is having something taken.
I'm Pat Tweedle, and
also,
is she on it?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Pat Tweedle, and I have started my business already, but I'm branding. I'm starting to brand us over again. There's other things that I see that I need to do that I didn't do. It's not so much I didn't do it, I didn't know to do it. So now I'm like rebranding and venturing out, a little bit bigger than where we are now. And your information was right on the money for me.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. And it's good that you rebrand, and I hope you know that's a great thing. That means you reevaluated, and like you said, you can just approach it a lot different, which will be a lot more effective. I just went through a rebrand for the last year of just changing my entire business around. And as we evolve as people, that's exactly what happens with our business. Our business evolves as well.
Right.
That's excellent. Excellent. Also, we also want to share that it's very important that we talk about the trademark, copyright, and protecting your intellectual property, because us as, people who are of color, representing all these beautiful services and products we have, we tend to sell out very easy and not hold on to our ownership. And we want to know what our value is before we give it away. And it's so important that we know our why. Like when Kevin was talking in the beginning, what did he say? He said in the beginning, you got to know your why. So we have some people on today that are not just representing themselves, but representing a whole group of people. I know Jackson won. Do you have any students in the audience that have questions? Because I know you're probably streaming yourself. If you want to ask questions, anybody want to ask a question, they can come up and type in the chat, or you can ask.
Was her video skippy on your end, or was it just me?
Yes, Denise's reset service seems to be a little choppy.
Okay, no problem. I think she was just saying if there's any students in here, now would be a great time for you to ask questions as well. Let's see.
I have a question. Are you going to do this one over again? Because I have come across students who this would really benefit them. I just wish I had a thought to email them and have them register for this class. There's one young man that's just went off to Delaware State who's starting a clothing line, and this would have been excellent. So if this is ever going to be done again, I definitely would make sure that they got this information.
Kevin, can I take that one?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So we actually have a YouTube channel called NCRF TV. And so we will be uploading this to our NCRF TV. So I'll go ahead and type that in. We would also encourage you to subscribe and encourage any students to subscribe, because the station or the channel, it really is for students to empower them in all areas of life. So there's all types of content there, but this will be up there as well. But if there's anything you wanted to add, Kevin, please do.
Oh, I was just going to speak to, and yeah, I definitely want to just agree that the channel is super dope, super dope. A lot of information, a lot of different people on there as well. So definitely tune into that, subscribe, all of that. We have another workshop that we will be doing. It won't be solely catered towards branding, but it will be speaking to the importance of networking and finding your purpose and things of that nature. It'll be called Impactful Conversations. So that should be in November. But like I said, I think if you were to subscribe, you would get the alerts for that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Kevin, do you want to share any final thoughts with our audience on just how to start and build and brand your business?
Yeah, a couple things. So I know we spoke on building a business brand today, but I don't want to undermine the importance of personal branding. I think that is a very strong thing that a lot of people ignore. They think, and of course, yeah, like we're taught that we're apart, we're separated from our business, right? Like your business is a whole separate entity, but in a way, it's not because you are an example. You're a representation of your business. And I learned this by working with, shoe wear giants like Foot Locker. Like these people don't play around when it comes to their image. And the fact that I was even partnered with them and they were carrying our clothing, they vetted who I was. They watched all of my social media. They watched the people I was around. I'm already a person who doesn't really post, curse music, or I don't smoke. I do drink a little wine, things of that nature, but it's nothing crazy, right? I always kept my image clean because I knew that I was, whatever I did, whether it was a building my business or partnering with a different company, I'm a representation of them and I'm a representation of my business. So keep your personal brand on point. Um, I will say that because it matters. Don't let nobody tell you that it doesn't. And the last thing, I'll just share a little quote for those of you in here that really sticks out to me is serve and they'll push you up, right? Serve and they will push you up. And I think that's the most valuable thing because all we're here to do is serve, right? Each of us. Whatever business you're trying to start is about service. You're trying to serve a specific person. So if you're giving value to people, you're serving people, you'll get all that you deserve. Trust and believe. But keep that at the forefront of everything. And yeah, I think it'll end really well for you. Because as soon as my business wasn't, because of course when I started, I'm coming from a ignorant mindset of I'm just here for the money, right? I'm selling this for the money. I quickly uh, realized like it's not just about that. It's really about the impact, right? And that's where that reason and why comes into play. So yeah, just serving that will push you up because ever since I started speaking, my life has been so just I've been getting blessed back and forth, like time and time again. Opportunities coming out the yin yang, just because I'm serving now, and it's not just about getting the dollar. Like a lot of things I do, I don't even get paid for, So it's just deeper than that for me.
That sounds like you're in love with what you do. And when you're in love with something, the money will just come as you're just meeting the need and providing services and goods. It's just a part of it. I'm placing some things in the chat for you, you wonderful people. And it's really great if you want to join our Entrepreneurship Academy. Our Entrepreneurs Academy, you can log on to our personal website that has all the information of all National College Resources Foundation's information, including internship and career opportunities, scholarships, and also information about our next upcoming live in-person events. We're going to be in Dallas in a week. So on Saturday, we're going to be in Dallas next Saturday, not this coming Saturday, the following Saturday. Check our site. Definitely want to get some information. We also have more to this series, How to Land Your Dream Job. This was more focusing on being your own boss. We start with yourself first. We're going to put our face mask on first, and then we're going to invite the companies on and talking about how to map your career. Kevin's going to lead another session called Transformative Conversations about public speaking and learning how to be a great storyteller. As you can hear, he has a wonderful voice and a wonderful presence. So he's going to join us again and talk. And you can definitely share the information. There's the link on how to land a dream job and also how to, and there's a link on Yang Vibe on Instagram. If you want to follow his journey, he's a very good, social media person. I'm just just
That's
learning.
right. That's right.
And that's his website. So if you guys don't have any further questions, we'll stay on as long as you need. We'll stop the recording. Go ahead and stop it, Kevin. Thank you guys for joining us. Hi, I'm Denise Parker, National College Resources Foundation's Director of Internships and Careers. I'm super excited because we've been helping our students to get opportunities with our corporate partners and our sponsors to make sure they get internships and early career pipeline pathways into the jobs of their dreams. It's awesome because we're not just helping them with resume building and interview tips, but we're also helping them to figure out how their major is mixed into what they want to do in their passions for life. And it's finding a purpose. It's not just a job to build up skills, it's also to find their career journey. Not everybody knows what they want to do when they get older. Not everybody can figure it out along the way. It might take 20 years, it might take 15 years, it might take 5 years. But guess what? Our organization, NCRF, is here to help them, follow them through, to find that support that they need from the resources that we have from our wonderful corporate partners. And I'm here to advocate for you as an internship and careers director.